you talked a little bit about how the creating healing stories is part of the journey and how that helps you work through your fears and anxieties. But I've also heard you talk about how writing or the process of creating stories allows your mind to shift focus from unnecessarily ruminating on things going on. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, that was actually a big reason why I started writing again. So I find my mind to be a very active mind. As I say, it's like a dog that likes to chew on something, it wants to have something to chew on. And a few years ago, I decided, rather than letting my dog, so to speak, chew on the furniture, I was going to give it a bone to chew on. So that was an analogy for what I was trying to do, where rather than letting my mind chew on, or scenarios or past happenings, rather than getting stuck in those kind of thoughts, whenever those thoughts would come up, I would kind of say in my mind, here's a bone. Think about how you're going to develop this character. Think about how this next scene is going to progress. Think about what's going to be the overall theme of this particular chapter, what's going to be the overall lesson that this character is going to learn. So it was helpful in that way, kind of like when someone's smoking and they're addicted to nicotine, right?
Mhm.
They want to quit smoking, but it's a bit too difficult to quit smoking. Rather than just quitting cold turkey, sometimes people will, chew gum or something like that. So for me, writing was kind of like like Nicorette gum, doing Nicorette, in terms of dealing with a really active, anxious mind.
Right. Well, I like the analogy of the chewing bone better because you put it to good use. The bone does actually calm the
Yes.
dog, and this not only allows you to shift focus from the anxiety and fear and the endless rumination, generates something beautiful, something insightful, and something enjoyable not only for yourself but others. It's creative and constructive use of that propensity of the mind.
I agree. But I have also found that the reason I used, an example of nicotine too
Mm-hmm.
is I have found that even though, yes, it is a more healthy way
Mm-hmm.
of dealing with it, it still is a coping mechanism.
Uh-huh. I see.
And if used too much, I do think it's going to draw you out of the world just as much as focusing on, all these worry thoughts draws you out of the world. And so if your goal is to really become more present in the world and less stuck up in your mind, less kind of distanced from the world, it's not necessarily going to be the end all be all of the process.
I see. I see. I see. It is still a step removed from the present moment, complete embodiment.